to all this stuff. Hey, what's going on, guys? How's everybody doing? Welcome to another Tuesday afternoon on Vinny's Corner with my co-host. I pointed the wrong way. Mike, what's going on, brother? Cove, excuse me.
Yeah.
All right, and we're going to jump real quick to our intro, and then we'll get things started here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not the intro. Whoops.
This is Eddie Columbus with your We Like.
Purdue as Mitchell looks for an answer.
Ooh, pure, nothing but net.
Garland to the basket, stole the inbound pass. He lays it in.
Basketball down there.
Very high percentage shot for him from that spot. Merrill for three. Tristan Thompson on the floor. Diaz for three. That's short. Hard rebound. Ricochets out to Merrill for three again.
For the We Like Sports Show, tune in and see the latest the crew has to say regarding the latest sports topics nationally and locally. Make sure to check out our website as well, WeLikeSportsPC.com. Subscribe on all platforms, including podcast platforms, YouTube, TikTok, and much more. And be sure to follow us on X at We Like Sports PC.
Started with Anderson and Ramirez.
He said, let's go, right? Yeah, I'm sure he wants the game to start, but they won't let it. And rightfully so.
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Vinny's Corner. I'm Vinny. This is my co-host, Cove. Hopefully everybody is having a wonderful Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday evening, depending on which coast you are located on. So, Cove, I do want to talk football. I always want to talk football, but it's the MLB postseason, and we're already almost 3 complete games in. So I think it's only fair that we start out with Major League Baseball and just jump right in. So the wild card started today for folks that are tuning in and didn't know. So far, we've already seen the first AL wild card game. That was the Tigers versus the Astros. Did you have a chance to jump in and watch the game at all, Cole?
No.
No? So I tuned in at like the 5th inning, I want to say, and it was 3-0. It was exactly kind of what we expected. Scuball just taking over the game, right? And not letting much happen. The Houston Astros didn't put up their first run until the bottom of the 9th, to be perfectly honest. And obviously that wasn't Scuball's fault. Scuball only gave up 4 hits. He had 6 Ks. Everything that you kind of expected out of the guy is exactly what he brought to the table in game 1. Besides that, we had a couple of not really, I wouldn't say there was really any strong batting performances. Rogers went 4-2. Perez, went 5-2. But for the most part, it was like 1 or 2 hits each, nothing too exciting. Torkelson didn't have any hits. The guy who you picked, and I picked Green. Green had 5 at-bats. He had 1 hit. So, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about that? Hearing those kind of numbers for game 1, anything surprising?
No.
It seems to me like that was exactly what we thought it was going to be. I thought Detroit might fare a little better. But they were playing against Valdez, and generally speaking, Valdez is sharp on the mound. So, a low-scoring affair. Nothing unexpected there. And so AL wild card, the Detroit Tigers and the Astros. Game 1 is in the books. The Detroit Tigers have a 1-0 lead at this point. And game 2 that we wanted to look at, the Kansas City Royals and the Baltimore Orioles. So now, this is another interesting one, right? we had talked a little bit about this. They had Corbin Burns on the mound for the Orioles, and he did fantastic, but at some point, I think in the 6th inning, he gave up 1 run. And I don't even know if it was him, to be honest. I'm trying to see right now. Let's see what happened. So Reagan, what'd you say?
RBI.
Okay. Yeah, okay, there you go. 1 earned run against Burns. And, Reagan's the lefty pitcher. As I suspected, he pitched 6 innings. He had 8 strikeouts. He only had 4 hits against him, no runs. So they're looking to shut it down now. It's 2 outs, 2 men on base. So there's plenty of opportunity for the Orioles to get back in this game right now. It's definitely not over. And they got Santander on up to bat right now. And it looks like he's 0-3. So on his strike ball count. So they're in a pretty good position right now. You think that the Orioles might sneak it out? No.
I don't see a late. That's the thing about the Orioles. If you look at the last few weeks, they've fallen apart a lot. I mean, I'll say against 500 clubs like Yankees and guys that were above them, they did really well against. But mid clubs, they're not that great against. So,
yeah. I mean, and listen, they're going up. I think. Let's see who's on the mound right now. I think. Who's on the mound for them? I thought
Enberg. I think his name. It's kind of
Urseg.
Yeah, Urseg.
Yeah. Okay, and he's pretty solid. So you know what? As I was saying that, he got them out of the inning.
Yeah.
So two base runners stranded. We're going into the top of the 9th. Kansas City Royals got command. And, did you see what just happened in the Mets game?
No.
Okay, so I can't see the screen. It's a little too far away, my TV. But what the TV now says is New York Mets 3, Brewers 2. Wow. So it looks like, Milwaukee came out in the 1st inning. They jumped right out ahead. Kind of as expected, I would say. And then let's see what happened here.
3-2. It's 3-2.
Yeah. Let's see what happened. Who got on base? Who got runs? Vientos, Alonso, and who had the ribby? Marte. Okay. Wait. I'm sorry. Winker and Marte had. So the DH Winker came in right after Alonso and drove in a couple of runs, and then it looks like Marte might have had a sack and knocked and drove in Winker as well. Ooh. So that's pretty. Listen, man, the Mets are here to stay, it looks like. I don't know.
Peralta is already throwing 30 pitches this inning.
Yeah, that's hectic.
Jesus.
I'm kind of surprised by this, but I'm also not, because the Mets bats have really been hot as of late, So it's not that crazy to think, but that's a lot of pitches already. Pitch count.
But you got to think of this one. Think of hype in that sense. They were last week. You didn't know the Mets were going to get in. Then they secured their win to get in. And it drove that team to be better. So maybe this was just what they needed, was just get in there and then just relax.
You could be absolutely right, because I'm looking at the pitch count right now, right? So yeah. Peralta's got 48 pitches already in the first 2 innings.
Yeah. Like I said, he's almost got 30 pitches this inning alone.
That's hectic. I mean, that it sounds like, besides hits, it sounds like they're taking a lot of balls, and that's kind of important, to run that pitch count up with this guy and just make him work for it. And they're doing a perfect job so far. So, this is pretty interesting. I'm pretty excited to hear this too. Not gonna lie. So we're going into the middle of the 2nd, bottom of the 2nd now. Yeah. But that's an awesome start. I mean, can't really you can't ask for more. The Mets are ahead after 2 at-bats. I still suspect that the way that the Brewers bats usually play, that this is going to be a pretty high scoring affair. So I don't know that I would be excited about the Mets yet, but it's definitely not a bad thing to say. Hey, baby, you all right? I think my little girl's getting tired over here. But that being said, it's a long day for us both, baby. You'll be all right. And then so tonight we have the Braves and San Diego. And did we find out earlier who the Braves are starting?
Yeah, so Sawyer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Against Michael King.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts on me? Do you think that is this a situation where they're trying to manage to get Sale in, hopefully to game 3?
No, Sale got scratched from the roster.
Oh, he's all the way scratched. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's a little different then. In a situation like that, I'm not really sure where they go from here. Yeah. Do you think this team can do it without their ace?
I mean, the Astros scratched Verlander too, so
we don't know anything more about that, do we? So let me check. Is there any? Why is Verlander off the roster today? Let's see. Verlander scratched for Wild Card 1. Let's see what they say. Interesting. The Houston Astros young winner, but did not include.
Yeah, they did not include him, and they said for Sale.
Okay. So he's off the roster, and they said that they still have Jordan Alvarez on there, even though he's hurt.
Yeah,
but I want to know, is he hurt right now, Verlander? He was placed on the IL to start the season, but is that still what they're looking like? Is it still his shoulder?
Might be.
Man, that's pretty terrible.
Yeah, but we're talking about Justin Verlander 10 years ago, and this is 10 years later. You know what I mean? Like, there's only so much you can do.
That's a fact, man. That's an all the way fact. Okay, now listen, we were chopping up over a few of the questions that we kind of have for the spaces earlier. Now I want to kind of raise one of them because now I'm thinking about this, and we did say that Baltimore and Kansas City were almost going to get rained out this morning because they had a nasty weather this morning.
Yeah.
Now it looks like the Orioles have just been struggling to find offense. Do you think that the weather might have affected, the way that these guys are playing?
This is what I've been saying. The Orioles have not played well against certain teams, and KC just might have their number.
Kind of seems like a lot of teams had trouble with KC this season. In actual fact,
mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised by that. Listen, you picked them to win it all. I told you, if it's not going to be my Yanks, they're the team I believe that are going to make it happen. So it's not really I guess it's not that it's a surprise, but it's definitely, I think if I was an Orioles fan, I'd be majorly disappointed right now. You're just seeing more of this lackluster play on offense, and you can't win without the offensive production. And with guys like Rushman and what's this guy's name? I can't think of his Gunner. Yeah, it kind of what's going on? Is it just too long of a season? They weren't really ready for it. They kind of blew their load in the first half.
I see how it happened. And Mets, he roped a single in the corner and it unloaded the bases.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you got the play up?
Yeah, I just showed it.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, he got on first and second. He roped one into the far right corner, and two runs came in.
Give me 1 second, brother. Okay, honey, just lay down. You're tired. Go to sleep. So my daughter just went to sleep. Wonderful news, guys. Let's focus on some baseball.
Apparently went the longest since 1997 as an Oriole in a playoff game.
I don't think that you said it. I asked, do you think he's going to show up today? And you were like, more of the same for the guy. He's going to show up. He's going to be rock solid. And he was. The issue, though, is the bats. And, you got so many studs on the same team and nobody hitting. Like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Is this just the Yankees from 2 years ago? Came out super hot, made their way to the playoffs, barely got there, but got there, right? And then just, all downhill from there, or what do we think?
I don't know what I saw it earlier about the Houston talking about Detroit. They had over 1,000, over 100 games playoff experience, while Detroit only had 27. So they were just showing the difference between Houston and Detroit. That playoffs experience mattered, but apparently it didn't.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, if you have an ace like that, like Skubal, who you can this day and age, putting up only 3 runs in a Major League Baseball game is generally not enough, unless you got that guy.
Yeah.
They put those runs up in the second inning or the third inning, and then they just relied on defense the rest of the game. And unfortunately for the Astros, they had to go against probably the Cy Young winner for the AL this season, So Game 1 to the Tigers. Now, do you think that the Tigers carry this momentum from Game 1 through the series, or is this not the last we've seen of Houston?
I don't think this is the last you'll see Houston. They love to come back. They love to come back.
Yeah, they're good at that. They are. They're very good at that.
They are home. They just got to win tomorrow. Because, once you get a 1-0 lead in a best of 3, then that becomes detrimental, because now Houston's against the wall. And if you know Houston's history, when they're against the wall, they churn up. They like to be behind.
Listen, remember what I was telling you before? Listen, guys, anyone who's listening to this, I'm going to put this is on air now, right? I can't take this back. I'm a New York Yankees fan. My 90% of my family that was born in America was born in the Bronx. I grew up in the South Boogie. I'm really a New York guy from uptown. Harlem and the Bronx is where my family's from. That being said, I enjoy Astros baseball a lot. I like to watch them play, and there's no better team to watch in the playoffs than the Astros, because they'll lull you to sleep they'll lose 2 games, and then they'll come back and just bring the heat. All behind little 5'0" Altuve. Guy's so good, it's unbelievable. Mr. Reliable.
I'll bring in the Astros mascot.
Oh my God, that guy. Listen, they have some great mascots in baseball. I'm not going to lie. I've been to a few baseball games. The Phillies mascot, I forget what that guy's name is, but he's pretty aggressive.
Philly Fanatic.
Yeah, he's a little aggressive, but he's aggressive towards anybody from New York, I think.
Like I said, I'll hold this for the Astros for tomorrow.
Now, so this was one of the things, actually, and I want to just kind of jump around questions a little bit here. We were talking about intangibles today. What teams bring those intangible factors, whether it be motivation, whether it be experience, team chemistry. After Game 1, right, the big thing that we were saying earlier that you said, right, is that you thought the intangible that was going to be the biggest factor was the experience that the Astros brought to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, do you still feel the same? Was today just a one-off? They were playing the Cy Young winner. Everyone's getting smoked by that guy.
Yeah.
Do you think that's still the big factor?
That's the thing about Detroit is who else do they have to throw against the Astros? Are they ready? Do they got a Game 2, Game 3 ready to start from the same pitcher? That's the thing. Skubal is on a whole different level than what the rest of that roster has.
Well,
so they got through Skubal. Now they don't have to worry about Skubal. So now their mindset changes. Now they just have to beat up the rest of the pitching.
I'm trying to see who's pitching Game 2 if they have him out yet. No, they didn't list it yet.
Yeah, it's determined.
But I think here's the question. Game 2 is – oh, actually, wait. I guess because they're the wild card, all 3 games are at Houston, aren't you?
Yeah, they're all in Houston. They don't move.
Okay, so they overcame the biggest hurdle. They're the away team. They went in there, they got the big W. Now the question is who do they put up in game 2? I'm going to jump to the roster real quick. Let's see what we got in the pitching there.
Yeah, you got game 2 roster, but the thing is, you win game 2, you got to have game 1 ready for game 1 against Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
So they got to manage this well, because if they take game 2, then they got Cleveland right away. So like, do they really want to go through someone that might do well against Cleveland? So he's got AJ. But here's the other thing: AJ Hinch is the former manager. He knows that team.
Yeah. Well,
He
so
knows how to play around them.
who would you pitch in game 2 if you were the Tigers?
Well, I have to look at the roster.
Take your time. We're in no rush here. I'm doing the same thing myself right now. I'm looking through it. I'm trying to decide who would I pick out of this crew to pitch game 2. This is a good question. Let's see here.
I'm trying to see what they're trying to say, but it's pretty.
Joby. I mean, looks like they have quite a few guys rostered for the playoffs who haven't really had pretty much any burn this season, you know?
Yeah. Now this from MSNBC says Tigers rotation projected as worst among contenders for postseason. So that's interesting.
I mean,
this was says aside from Cy Young, Skubal as an ace, the upstart Tigers have a starting rotation full of question marks.
That's 100%. I'm looking right now and I'm like, I really don't know who I don't know who I would pitch. That's a great question. Well, listen, okay, so here's the way I would look at this now, right? Skubal's a lefty, right? So maybe I'd start another lefty pitcher. If I'm like really on the fence, maybe I go against him. I hit him with another lefty. Maybe. But I don't know who that would be. I feel like I don't even know if they have another lefty in their starting rotation. I think the rest of their lefties are all relievers, if I'm being honest. Damn, I don't know. This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. I mean, Reese Olson, he's got a decent ERA, but he's also 4-8 this season.
Yeah. Let's see who they got.
Joby,
Job Jackson. I don't know.
Jackson Joby, maybe. Like they haven't really pitched him.
Yeah,
but I mean, he's only had 4 innings this season, but they have him on the roster. Maybe he gives a different look, you know. But I don't know. This is a tough question right here. I don't know who do you bring in on this? Like, if you're the Tigers, and you know what? I'm kind of curious to see like what other people are saying. Like, folks that are out there, like, if you want to comment, who would you pitch? Who do the Tigers pitch in game 2 at the Astros to get out of this wild card?
You could throw Kenta Medea in there. Kenta Medea.
I kind of feel like, let me see. This is what it's going to be. Maybe Madden? No. I don't know. Maybe Madden. He's 101.
Yeah, Tide Madden. But I say Medea, Matt Manning, Tide Madden, Medea.
Well, here's the thing, though. I don't think Medea's on the roster.
Okay.
Yeah. So he didn't. So really, your choices are really Madden, Olson.
Yeah, but just because he's not there doesn't mean it's not like they're not good.
They can't bring Casey Mize. I mean, he's 2-6 this season. He's been horrendous.
Wait. Yeah, Medea. That's why I was thinking of him, because Medea just pitched on the 29th, so I don't think he's ready.
I don't think they're going to roster him. I think they're expecting to get out of this series, and then they'll roster him again if they make it.
And Bo just pitched on the 28th, so they went through Bo and Kenta. So it's interesting. Who else did? Hannafy, Olsen pitched on the 26th. Montero.
I got a feeling it's going to be Olsen. That's my gut says it's going to be Olsen.
Or Montero, because those guys just pitched the 26th and 25th. So they're in the rotation to come in back in after a 5-day rotation, right?
Yeah, and you know what? Realistically, they've got a couple of these younger guys there that, I think that the reason these guys are rostered is because they know, okay, if Olsen gets shelled in the first 2-3 innings, get him out of there. We bring in another starter. They might play like, one of these makeshift, we just put 4 pitchers on the mound a game to get out.
Oh, and maybe the reason why they got Montero Montero was the 25th, Olsen 26th. So you got to go with a 5-day rotation. So it's one of those guys. It's Montero or Olsen. They're the only guys because Hannafy just pitched on 27th.
Yeah,
Riesk on the 28th and Medea on the 29th. So, yeah, those guys they're too close to the rotation because you got to think, if they take up game 2 tomorrow, then they have to pitch in a couple more days. So they need that rest.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Olsen, Mize, and Madden all pitch in the first 6 innings tomorrow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be surprised because they might they might put one guy in, get through an inning, starts to get hit. All right, you know what? Take them off. Because you can't leave these guys on. You leave these guys on, and they start getting damage done quickly. But
that's what I said. Hannafy, Olsen, and Montero for sure game 2, and if they have to go game 3, then you got Medea and Briesk coming in.
Hopefully they don't. I'd love to see them come out, but it's weird because this is a weird series for me because I'm super excited about the Tigers. I am. They've just been fun baseball in September. But like I said, I just there's something about the Astros in the playoffs that I just enjoy. But I really wouldn't want to see the Yankees have to play them again. So I would like to see a 1-2 Tigers move on, Astros go home, Astros go to Cancun. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be too mad about that. But I guess we'll see what happens. So listen, we got some really good questions here this week, right? I think this is another one. And this one's wide open question, right? We already saw today it did not matter for the Astros, but do you think that home field is going to be a deciding factor in any of these wild card games we're watching today?
Well, right now it says no.
It doesn't look like it, right?
Because you got Detroit winning on the road, Casey's winning on the road, Mets are winning on the road. That's 3 out of the 4 right now that are winning on the road.
So right now, it looks like for once, home field advantage is not that important. Will that change? We have yet to see, but it looks like the wild card round, it hasn't really been too big of a factor for us, which is kind of interesting. So this game's almost over.
This is why when the All-Star game comes around and the winner gets home field advantage, I've been saying that since July. Home field does not matter.
I think for certain teams, it matters more than others. Some teams don't care. They're just going to go out there and play baseball. But some teams, I do feel like the Yankees are a better team at home. Maybe it's the size of the field. I don't know. We're okay.
No, they weren't that. They were all right at home, but they were better on the road.
The Yankees?
Yeah, Yankees had a better road record than they had a home record.
Did they? No, hold on. I gotta look that up. That's interesting.
They had 50 wins on the road, so they had a better road record.
If they had 50 wins on the road, then yeah, you're 100% right. But the Guardians were massive on the road this year.
No, it was the same thing. They were home. They were home over road.
Okay, we talked about this earlier. What team did you say was the number one team on the road?
Yankees.
Okay, so that conversation, I thought you said the Guardians.
No,
I thought you said the
Guardians
exact
were the
opposite.
best at home and Yankees best on the road.
I thought you said the exact opposite. So I'm like, wait a minute. We already talked about this. What are you talking about? Okay. So you got me there. And that makes total sense. Like I'm at the end of the day as a fan, as long as my team is winning, I'm okay with it. So listen, let's jump right into game 4 today because it's coming up any time now, right? We just got a couple hours till it. The Braves and the San Diego Padres.
Yes.
What do we think about this game?
But quickly, because I'm just looking at it now, Yankees, better road than home. Guardians, home over road. Houston, kind of 50-50. But Orioles, better on the road than at home. KC, better at home than on the road. And Tigers are 50-50. So it's...
So the Orioles could be jammed up because they have home field advantage for the whole wild card, right? So that could be a problem for them. And then the Yankees having home field advantage later on, that could be a problem for the Yanks as well. Hopefully
here
it's not.
But here, so Milwaukee was 50-50. They had 46-47 wins home and away. But the Mets are better at home than they are away. But San Diego is better at home, better on the road than away.
All right. Where you?
And Braves are better at home than on the road. So it's interesting.
But the Braves are going to be at San Diego, right? 45. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Yeah. 45-30. Well, so the Padres are good at home, though, too. Mm-hmm. It looks like.
Yeah.
45-36 at home.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not bad. So I don't think that they're going to have a problem with that.
But look at the next stat above 500. That's where that matters. That above 500 record, how they play against above 500 teams.
That's a good point. Okay. Now, so here's my question, right? We've seen. Let's see if we can get the. Let's see if we get the roster here. Braves lineup. Okay, so we got the Braves lineup. Is there so we know what Ozuna is as the DH. He's third up. He's third at bat. I mean, he's their big boy, right? 39 home runs, 104 ribbies. He's having a colossal season. Who is that next guy for you? Who's that other guy on that team that has to perform for this team to take off, for the Braves to have a chance?
Olsen,
yeah, I think he's got to be a stud. I think the whole middle of really, in order, Ozuna, we know he's got to be a stud. Olsen's got to be hitting, Olsen batted 247 this season. He needs to have a better playoff than that. 247's that's not going to cut it for what they need in this series, especially not against a team that's got firepower like the Padres. And then Soler is my third one. But he's another one. He's only batted 241 this season, but he's an important piece to the middle of that lineup.
Oh, we almost have it. Casey's 2 outs, 1 on, bottom of 9th. So,
almost there
for Casey to steal this win.
I can't wait. I need the Orioles to lose. Let's go. I love hearing the Orioles lose, and that's a fact.
And they
got real
Gunner.
New York shit.
And it's Gunner is up. I think.
Oh, they got a
it's not
stud.
Gunner. It looked like Gunner. Sorry, young kid. Looked like Gunner. I can't see because it's blurred out. My connection's a little fuzzy.
Who they got up to bat right now?
There it is. It's over.
It's over. Yeah. As I clicked on it, the game was ending.
Strike 3 on the outside.
There it goes.
But do you notice that? Salvador Perez, look at his chest. You've got to be a gold glove to have that gold logo.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, that's true. So, all right. So now we had 3 road We had 2 road teams win already. The Mets are ahead in Milwaukee right now at the end of the third. It's still 3-2. And now we're looking at the Padres hosting the Braves. Can the Braves keep the away rolling, or are the Braves going in there to get shut down?
I think the Braves are going to get shut down. Now, I know a lot of Braves fans, and you're in one of my groups for my thing. You can see that we have a Braves fan in house, and he doesn't believe in them either.
I mean, listen, it's how do you believe in them with these injuries? And when you listen, everyone was talking about it yesterday. We had, is Sale hurt? What's his situation? Is he going to be out there starting today? And then all of a sudden we look at it, and the starter is AJ Smith Shaver, right? 0-0, ER 0, Ks on the season 4.
Yeah. No, because they're hurt on their rotation. They got
this kid's brand new.
Yeah, they got to use a positional player. But if you don't know this, as an actual statistic, because I went up in the minors and whatever, not every pitcher is a pitcher, because there's so many pitchers that come up, they end up being in the outfield. So you can have pitchers that are actually playing in the outfield.
Now, okay, so listen, the reason this guy, though, the reason he's got no – okay, now this is even worse to see. The reason he's got no burn this season is because 4 months ago he was sent to the IL because of an oblique. Yeah. So this guy was like supposed to be a good pitching prospect, and then he just hasn't – he hasn't had any burn. So this could either blow up in their face. This guy comes back from injury and just gets smoked, or, he shows up, in a big way today. But I just got a feeling, like you said, this guy's first day back, he's going to have to pitch against the batting champ first. His first guy out is the AL or the NL batting champ. So how's that going to go when Arias gets out there?
I wouldn't worry about Luis Arias because he does well in the season, but he doesn't got a lot of playoff experience.
I understand. We've heard it before. Experience is king, but look, right now, all right, so we got somebody with 0 experience against somebody with little experience, but we know the one with little experience is a stud. We don't really know what AJ is yet. My money's got to be on San Diego for this game. I don't.
Yeah, but I just think everybody's saying San Diego's got this in the bag, and sometimes when you put that too much emphasis on this, that's what happened. Because look at Houston. Everybody put it. Houston's got this. And then Houston didn't have this.
Hey, man. Listen. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people thought the Tigers were going to win. Anyone who knew baseball thought that Scuba was going out there and shutting it down today, right?
Yeah, but when he's 18-4, he's got it.
Yeah. I agree with that. Listen, today's the kind of game where realistically the Braves need their stars that are available to show up. Ozuna needs to go like 3 for 4 with a home run and 2 ribbies to make this a game today. But we'll see what happens. Tatis hasn't had a great season, but you got Tatis out there, you got Machado, you got Arias. They've got good players that they're going against, and an untested pitcher. So I don't know. I'm not too confident in these guys. Listen, guys, I did want to just take a quick moment to shout out my guy, the Black Bookie, Uncle Joe. If you guys are on X and the socials, or you can just go to his website, www.theblackbookie.com. So he also does a writing piece for us at We Like Sports. And every Sunday, he's got the Sunday Snooze You Lose pick. I'll be interested to see what he's looking at this weekend. I'm not sure who he picked today, but I got a feeling that if you check him out on X, you might be able to see a couple of good bet ideas for the last wild card of the evening. So Shout out to my guy, the Black Bookie, Uncle Joe, one of our writers at We Like Sports. And what I want to do, we got about 20 minutes left here or so. I want to shift gears to the NFL now.
Yeah.
Right? It's that time. It's time for football, guys. Everybody loves football. So my wife's a Raiders fan, which makes me default a Raiders fan. If you could see my daughter sitting over there in her little chair, she's asleep. She's a Raiders fan too. Big news. Davante Adams has said that he wants to be traded from the Raiders. It's official. It's out there in the air. What do we think is going to happen next? What are your thoughts? We talked a little about this. I was wrong. You were right, Cove. Who do you think are the two best fits, and where do you think he actually lands?
New York.
Listen, it's hard to argue. I have a feeling, and I hope he's smarter than that, if I'm being honest, because I just don't. Aaron is not the AR who everyone wants to say he still is. He's not. He's a 41-year-old man. He's not Tom Brady, and it shows. Okay, he has a game that looks okay, and everyone's like, "Oh, is AR back?" No, he's not. He's just a 41-year-old who's good.
They loves AR though.
I know, and so I have a feeling that Davante might make that bad decision himself. The Jets would go and get him, no question about that. I don't really see that he fits well with that team because they already have top receivers who are going to take that as kind of a big snub. Because if Davante comes in, like, he's not coming in to be receiver 2.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. Davante Adams is the receiver 1. Yeah. You know, how does that go with Wilson when he shows up? How does that work out? Discord in the locker room?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, it's just a lot of people speculate that he's going to want AR, which just is speculation. But I've seen them talk about go to New Orleans. A lot of people said don't send him to Atlanta because I don't think he'll go to Atlanta. But I mean, there's not many guys that are willing to chip at Adams, really. I don't think.
So here, to me, is the best fit in the league and the team who needs it most right now. Davante is a West Coast guy. He's a Cali guy. Played college there, you know. He plays on the West Coast. A part of him, I know, wants to stay on the West Coast. The LA Rams need...
Washington would be a surprise.
Washington would be a surprise, but the LA Rams make sense. Kupp and Puka are both hurt. They need a receiver 1 yesterday, and they've got Matt Stafford, a great quarterback, to put with Davante. To me, that's like the smartest move. It keeps him on the West Coast. I know he's a family guy. His family's on the West Coast. Friends, you know, I mean, I could see that move happening. I could also see the Arizona Cardinals getting a player like him if it made sense, but his dead cap is going to be something like $40 million. It's like a wild number. If we you know what, we got to Google that. Davante Adams, 2025 dead cap. It's something wild though.
Yeah.
So, but to me, those are like the two smartest places. Oh no, it's not that bad. So let's see. So Las Vegas would, okay. So hold on. If they traded him, okay. So if Las Vegas was to keep him, it would cost them $44.1 million. If they trade him, they'll have to eat a dead cap of $15 million, 15.7 to be exact. So, I mean, the Raiders are not gonna, they're gonna go with it. And, you know, he asked for the trade right after they won a game without him. So, like, it's just like, it's gonna, like, they're one of those teams. I fully believe they'll have the conversations. I don't know that he definitely moves, but I mean, that's a lot of money, you know?
Yeah, but they're looking at a first-round draft pick and who's willing to give up a first-rounder for him.
I don't know. I mean, he's got a lot of years, a lot of mileage on him, but he's a stud. He's definitely a stud.
But the Raiders want something to replace him.
What the Raiders need, I don't think they're going to get a receiver. I don't think they're going to get a first-round draft, but maybe like a second and a third, 2 second, a second and a fourth, something like that. And then not just that end, they need, like, if they could get a defensive piece for the middle of that field, I think it would help them. Like a safety / backer kind of somebody who, who could kind of be either or, but is really a linebacker might be a good move. I don't know where that comes from, but that's what they need. I don't know, man. I'm really curious to know what other people think about this. Like, what is Davante worth to you right now? If your team has to give up pieces, what would you give up for Davante? As if you don't tap in now, hit us on the socials. Let us know what you guys think about that. I'm super curious. I'm going to jump all over the Raiders Nation after this, see kind of how they're feeling about it. I'm really curious about this. But to me, this is like the news of week 5. Davante's a legend, man. That guy can ball with the best. So
but I think that's why people put Saints up, because Derek Carr. Because he did love Carr.
And I understand it. I think that New Orleans might be more realistic than the Jets, just because the Jets really what do you do when you go out? You're going to have to spend a lot to get this guy. It's not going to be cheap. And when you go and get a guy and spend that kind of money, your expectation is he's receiver 1. But what are you doing in the locker room when you tell Wilson that he's not receiver 1? Like, is that the way that these guys' egos are these days? I just to me, it would be a bad decision by the Jets to go out and get Davante Adams. That's how I see it. A bad move by that team.
35 days to figure this out. So they got a while to figure this out.
Listen, man, a month goes fast, brother. Trust me on that. It definitely goes fast. So now just kind of looking at the week, right? The NFL this week. We had a lot go on in week 4. I don't want to jump through every single thing that happened this week. The biggest things to me in week 4, Minnesota, I think, kind of put their stamp on the NFC. They're either the one team. I mean, they're either the best or second best team in football right now. I think the best outside of the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs have to be number 1 still to me.
Yeah, they're both the only undefeated teams. So that's got to be the 1-2 no matter what.
I'm not comfortable with what I'm seeing everyone on the socials telling me that a 2-2 team is the number 1 team in the league in the Ravens when they have basically no air game at all. And Derrick Henry's not going to run for 200 yards every week, guys. Newsflash. That's just not reality. That was half of his yards for the season. He's got 400 and change. That's not real. That's not reality based. It's not going to happen. It won't. I know that. Anyone else who's been watching football their whole lives knows that. So why do people think that? I don't get it. They looked good against the Bills, but they're the Bills. The Bills shit the bed all the time. Sorry, guys. It's true. But why would we put a 2-2 team ahead of the Super Bowl champs when the Super Bowl champs are undefeated?
It's because everybody thinks the Chiefs cheat. That's why.
It's ridiculous at this point. Get serious, guys. Because if Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson were playing each other tomorrow for everything on the line, Pat's walking out with his hands raised, just like he does every other time. And I don't even like the Chiefs, but it's true. All right. And then the other big thing for me last week, it was my Giants. Red zone appearance after red zone appearance, and just no touchdowns. Red zone 5 times in a row. 5 in a row of field goal every time. We lost the game because of our inability to score touchdowns. So to me, that was I couldn't deal, and then the last part for me that really kind of hit home, especially I'm a big NFC football. Jalen Hurts needs to start proving himself. Okay. That Super Bowl season is now an anomaly. It is not who he is, because what we're seeing from this guy over the course of almost 2 seasons now is mediocre play. At this point, I don't think he's a tier 1 quarterback. I could be wrong, but prove it. He's not proving it. And everyone's, okay, our buddy Jones had a post about this earlier. It was from Shannon Sharp pointing out something. I don't care that you don't have your 2 best receivers. Great quarterbacks figure it out. Period.
Yep.
So, you know what? We've given the guy the excuse. I'm taking the excuse away. It's nonsense, guys. Let's be honest. What's he really about? All right. So, that's my week 4 takeaways. That and the fact that Detroit's defense didn't look too hot yesterday.
No, I think they had a good season last year, but Detroit's not. Everybody figured them out.
I think that right now their defense is very shaky. I mean, their offense was all cylinders.
Yeah.
But
when you got a shaky defense, you
say no more. Defense wins championships, baby. We know that. Was there anything else in week 4 that really stood out to you?
Not particularly, because I say 80% of what happened was expected.
I agree. All right, so let's jump right to week 5. Now, week 5, we got a couple of things. So kind of the big one, what are your what's your big sleeper moment? Who do you think is that team who's underrated, right? Who should lose this week? Who's going to come out and post that W?
Panthers.
It's an NFC and an AFC.
Panthers for sure.
Panthers. Okay.
And
who are they at? The Panthers are at the Bears, right?
Yeah, with choke artist Williams.
Okay. And what about so that's the NFC. And what about the AFC?
AFC, you heard me say it earlier, could be the Jets.
I think the AFC this week, and I've been wrong more than once in my life, ladies and gentlemen. To me, the sleeper this week, the team who's going to show back up, is the Cincinnati Bengals. The 1-3 Cincinnati Bengals, I think, are going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. It's a divisional game, and those get intense. They get intense, but it's in Cincinnati. And you know what? I mean, Joe Burrow is not somebody you just count out. This season has not looked good for them at all. But that's why I picked them as kind of the underdog this week to show up and show out. For me, that's my other one. Okay. Now, here's another one, right? And this is so this was one we talked about earlier, actually. Who's that one player in the league? You know what? We can go AFC, NFC. We could go the whole league. But who's that one player to you who's just going to be a game breaker this week?
Well, jokingly, I'll say Spencer Rattler, because Derek Carr is going to get fucking ruined by the Chiefs.
I would love it. I would love that. I'd love to see him get his chance. But now, assuming, talking about guys that we know are going to start, who is going to have the biggest impact this week for their team? Who's going to show up?
I'll surprise you with this one. Justin Fields in against the Cowboys.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Now, why do you think that? Let me ask that. Is it because of his play, or is it because of something that we're seeing on the Cowboys defense that's just not gelling?
It's the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys. It's always going to be the Cowboys. They're a 2-2 team. They got ruined the last 2 weeks. They're falling apart.
Listen, I'm not going to disagree with you there.
Dak gets $60 million and then can't perform.
I think he's been very average this season for sure. But
he got that 60, and all of a sudden.
Now, Pittsburgh didn't have a great defensive stand last week, but this season they've been very solid defensively. I expect them to get it back together this week at home against Dallas. I like that. I think, and you know what? I've just really enjoyed Pittsburgh Steelers football this season. I like that pick. That's a great one. Justin Fields is a really solid one. I think the most expected person that I also think is just going to be that guy, and I think this is going to be week in and week out. Jaden Daniels, man, the real #1 draft pick for this season, the guy who should have been that pick. I mean, he's just his gameplay, his decision making on the field, not just like, I mean, if you watch him play, he's brilliant. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't play like a rookie quarterback. And he's got the Cleveland Browns coming into his house this week. This could be like the kind of week where he puts up 400 plus yards and 6 touchdowns, something crazy. And I would not be shocked by that. So for me, that's kind of that guy who's just going to keep doing this. I really enjoy seeing the way he's broke out just to start this season. It's been exciting, and then here's another question that we were talking about earlier. Now, we know what key players are going to make a big impact or what players we think are going to have the biggest impact this week. What injuries, what injuries that are happening right now are going to have the biggest impact on their teams this week? What do you think?
Geez, biggest impact. I got to go back for a second.
So now, if I'm correct, if Deebo Samuels is coming back this week, I think that he's not just a player, he's a leader in the locker room. Him coming back from an injury is going to be huge for the morale for the 49ers because at the same time, they just got the news that CMC is out for weeks. Yeah. And the reality is with what he's got going on in those tendons, this is the start of his ending. Like, you don't fix that. Tendonitis doesn't go away.
No.
So it gets worse over time. For anyone who didn't know that, tendonitis never goes away. I have it. I promise.
I'll surprise you. Giants over the Sea Chickens.
Okay. I like that. That's another, listen, I'm a Giants fan. I saw that defense play yesterday, and they just got shelled. I mean, Detroit scored in every way fathomable. Jared Goff caught a touchdown pass. So going back to the last question and then coming to kind of your surpriser here, that is the key injury. If the Giants, I don't know what concussion protocol is at this point, but I do know that Neighbors had a concussion last week. So that's going to impact that team. They need Neighbors out there. They can win without him, but the morale of just having him on the field, he's already become a leader on that team for obvious reasons, and he draws a lot of attention when he runs a route. So a guy like Wan'Dale can have a game like he did last week and catch a bunch of balls, right? And have a season like he's having. But you can't have that without all those pieces there. So that's kind of that injury that I'm looking at.
I'm just not sold on Geno Smith. I want Sam Howell to show up in Seattle to see what Sam Howell can do.
Okay, listen, I'm going to give you my spiel on this. I like Geno's because I think he's got great work ethic. And let's go Mountaineers. We graduated from the same college. He is a WVU Mountaineer. I don't root against my own. He's playing the Giants. I hope he loses, but I want to see the most success I can for the guy. And I think his decision-making has improved dramatically from when he was a Jet.
Yeah.
But, he's far from perfect at this point.
But Sam Howell threw 4,000 yards with the Commanders last year. The kid can throw.
Listen, man, Sam Howell had a hell of a season last season. I'm not, I can't even argue that. That's an all the way fact, And so to me, it's kind of an obvious one. Now, just real quick, it's almost that time that we head out. I did want to give a quick shout out to a couple of our sponsors. So guys, I was talking about the Black Bookie earlier. And if you want to use one of his bets, go to mybookie.com. when you make your first bet on mybookie.com, if you put up to $1,000 and use sports with a Z promo code, you can get up to $1,000 back in free bets. And of course, if you're a little workout guy like me and you want to hit the gym and you need a little pre-workout that doesn't have the jitters for you, check out Dubby. When you use Dubby and you go to their site, Dubby.com, what you'll be able to do is put in the We Like Sports with a Z promo code, and you can get 10% off on all Dubby products. So before we go, last question for you. This one, it's kind of early, right? But so far, we've seen a lot this season. What is your one game of the week? And who is your player of the season so far? So I guess it's 2 questions.
And so players so far, it's Jaden for sure.
Okay, I like it. Jaden's been awesome.
He shows you that he was a number 1. He's not a number 2.
Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Guy is cooking. And what's that game for you this week that you just want to tune into?
I hate to say it just because I want to see the Chiefs beat the crap out of the Saints because the first 2 weeks everybody was Saints, and then I'm like, Derek Carr is going to fall apart, so I need the Chiefs to beat the piss out of Carr so I can be like, you're 2-3, boys. What are you talking about now? You're all talk. Now Carr's under 500.
I like it. I'm going to keep it with the home team for me, or one of the home teams. The game that's exciting to me, and I think it's very important for their season, is the Raiders and the Broncos. It's a divisional game. Both teams are 2-2. Who comes out of this weekend 3-2, and moves themselves into that second position in the AFC West right behind the Chiefs? Mm-hmm. For me, that's where I'm looking to. So I guess both of us are in the AFC West this week. Listen, I appreciate your time today, Cove, and I appreciate everybody who's tuned in today, guys. Check in with us on the socials. I'm not even going to try and spell his name on X. It's too crazy and it changes too frequently. Just look for Cove. He's always on the same things as Vince. And mine, exactly what you see there, at Vin Quesada 1. Nice and easy. Nothing hard to figure out. El Gallo Guapo, the handsome rooster. Enjoy it, guys. And listen, for everybody here at Vinny's Corner and We Like Sports, I want to thank you guys, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Take care.